Watch out!
Bayonetta 3 has the most ambitious story in the series yet, but whether you love it or hate it, there is no denying that there are quite a few plot holes. So today, we're going to list and discuss them. I am joined here by Pink Giratina. Everyone give her a warm welcome.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Pink. I'm here with my fellow friend Johnny, and we're gonna have some nice conversations for you guys today about our beloved Bayonetta.
Yeah, and this is going to be a first for us doing a collaboration. We actually have only collaborated in the sense that we've commented on each other's streams. So it's always just been like really kind of in passing. So now we get to actually work together to bring you guys some entertainment. And I'm super excited because I really love your videos. I think you have some great perspective on things and I love seeing your reactions, especially in your reaction videos for them. Enough of us, you know, just complimenting each other endlessly. Let's go ahead and let me ask you before we start on these plot holes. How did you feel in general about the story of Bayonetta 3? I think the viewers would like to know where we stand on that first.
With the story, a lot of people can agree that it was going good until like the end. The way it was concluded, I think it's a general consensus that a lot of people doesn't like a rushed ending. And I think that's kind of what happened with the last like 2 chapters. It felt kind of like everything was squeezed together. The pace changed really drastically, and it was kind of like, whoa, it's a lot to take in, in 2 chapters. People didn't get to really absorb the story, so they instantly I hate it.
That was really well worded actually about the whole like pace changing. And that's something that I think I subconsciously noticed, but didn't really process. So I'm glad you said that just now. You're right, the last 2 chapters just like changed the pacing, changed the tone, the vibe like to an even darker level, a faster paced level, and it was just like a lot of really bad things happening one after another.
Yeah, a lot of things. I literally sat there for like a half an hour and I'm like,
yeah, and you saw me do the same. I just like was on stream like crying for a legit hour or 2. I actually uploaded that to YouTube too, so now people can see it on there since Twitch doesn't keep those recordings. Too funny.
Twitch.
When it comes to that ending, you know, obviously we have a more positive outlook now looking back as we've analyzed it and found some details that we didn't notice before. And I think that, you know, Hiraki Kamiya has even mentioned that we didn't exactly understand the ending as well as we all should have. So I think that our analysis was very useful in that regard of seeing what they were actually trying to do. I don't think it's as negative and as bad as, you know, we all thought on first playthrough. But regardless, there is a major plot hole that could have avoided a lot of that towards the end. And that was Rodin just not helping. Even though at the beginning of the game, he made it very clear that this is a threat that is going to affect everyone, even outside of the realm of chaos, like Inferno, Paradiso, all of that. So that means his own existence was at stake. So why would he not help? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on why that might be, or just why the writers might have forgotten that.
You know, it's kind of funny, you know, being like, you know, he didn't really help. But the most he did was just jump and punch the iridescence. Rodin as a character just a straight up chaotic neutral. Like honestly, he doesn't necessarily fight the fight of good, nor the really fight of evil. You say like his existence might have been like, you know, affected. I think he'd be affected, but I don't think he would have been wiped. I think he's too powerful to be wiped from existence. So that's why I think he wasn't really like stressing it, honestly. We know he's the infinite one. And there's only one of him, funny enough. So kind of every Bayonetta game we've had so far is not alternate Rodins, but all the same Rodin, which kind of makes it kind of confusing. But it's kind of like how does he jump from multiverse to multiverse?
I don't know if it's particularly relevant about how he travels it, because we know that he just does it himself some way, somehow. I don't particularly, and I don't think the writers actually care like how he does it. It's just like, yeah, we know that he can do that. But it's interesting. I like how you actually pointed out that it's actually just like a character trait of his to be chaotic neutral. I never thought about that. Like, he is just a chaotic neutral person. He doesn't actually care too much what happens around, whether it's good or bad. he doesn't really care about anyone, I guess, at that point either, except maybe himself. Maybe not even, because he's so chaotic neutral. Maybe he doesn't even care about himself. Like you said, he might not even get wiped at all because he's the infinite one. But I don't know. I don't know if he actually felt in danger himself. He just mentioned that the realms are all in danger. So that's a great point you brought up about how he's just chaotic neutral. Doesn't care about that, whether or not he gets wiped or not, whether he's threatened or not. We don't know. But he just doesn't care about the realms being destroyed, I guess.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because, like, I think he does care. It's kind of weird. Like, he's one of those people that his mind is definitely an enigma. Because, like, even in the beginning, the beginning of the chapter, when Bale went to save Jeanne from the Kraken and whatnot, and Iridescence was coming up, he literally threw the skyscraper and, like, saved her. And I was like, I feel like as the games progressed, he became a lot more warmer towards Bale, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like,
And a little more active. Like, we saw him more in Bayo 2. Like, we saw him in Hell. And we worked together a little bit in that. And then in Bayo 3, we saw him working together against this threat at the beginning, too. Yeah, earlier, you mentioned that he is an enigma because he seems like he does kind of care about them sometimes. And I remember, even towards the end, like you mentioned in the beginning, but also towards the end, he is talking to Viola like he cares about her, even like saying, sorry, I forgot to use the family name and, things like that. So it is really strange to think about, what he cares about, what he doesn't. He is, like you said, just an enigma. Maybe we shouldn't bother trying to figure him out at all. He's a chaotic neutral man. He's the infinite one. We don't know much about him. He might not even be a man. He might just be what he presents himself as. I don't know if he can change his form that much. But yeah, that's really cool. So let's go ahead and move on to the next plot hole, and that is Viola. And again, this has to do with the ending, but Viola not using her power against Singularity, like the fairy power, her transformation. It's supposed to trigger when her life is threatened, and it also says that it triggers out of her love for her father and the magic from her mother. So, like, why did it not trigger at all in that final fight? Matter of fact, she became a detriment and is the reason Luca had to make a choice at the end. So, what was going on with that? What are your thoughts on that?
That actually irritates me a lot. It really does, because it irritated me so much. It reminded me of this anime called Blood Sea, where this girl, she had some kind of powers, and her eyes would turn red, and when her eyes turned red, she would just shred everything. Like, she was unstoppable. And I'm like, she'd see her friends dying, and I'm like, turn on. turn on. And then everybody's dead. I'm like, I know you're turning on when everybody's dead, right? So I'm like, okay, Viola, come on, Viola.
It's too late. Oh, she got knocked out. We know that she knows how to do it because when you activate it in game, she does stab herself. So like, why didn't she had already known that prior. Why didn't she just do that?
Yeah, disclaimer. I literally played Bayo yesterday because, we're in the area of time we're in, like this frame of fall, November, a lot of games coming out. So it's kind of like hard to juggle everything.
Yeah.
I played yesterday and I did the her Rage Masquerade, and I was like, that's what that is? I didn't know. I didn't explore too deep. I just been practicing. So it's just like, oh.
Yeah, and she stabs herself with the sword. Like, she knows what she's doing, how to activate it. You could have single-handedly saved everyone at the end there, and you just didn't. And then what makes it harder for us to accept that she's the new Bayonetta is things like that like she like didn't do. Like, we've been playing as this competent woman for 3 games now. That's why we love the series. That's why we love the character. And then Viola comes along, literally gets her killed, and then they want us to accept her as the new Bayonetta. Like, no, that's bad writing, and that's part of the plot holes, and that's why we're talking about it. So you don't really have an explanation for this, it sounds like.
No,
I don't either.
I literally thought about it. I'm like, you literally only remember these things when everybody's gone.
Yes.
I'm gonna need you to fix that, baby. I'm gonna need you to fix it. I need you to use your noggin, right? Like your big mama here, she was something special. She was never caught slipping. Your pants down, pull them up. She has a lot to growing up to do.
Yeah.
And since we are on the topic of her, I found it so saddening that the genes were not in her favor. Very saddening.
What do you mean?
Even like
which genes?
She acts so much like Luca,
Oh
but
yeah.
there's barely any Bayonetta. I'm like, girl,
Yep.
this is why the whatever universe was against you, baby. I'm sorry. You
Hmm.
look like him, you move like him. Where's her? How is Rosa's gene so recessive against his? I have an issue. I have an issue. But other than that, I just laugh and I say, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm so sorry they didn't like you. They didn't like you. But other than that, I like Viola for who she is. I did tell you in your stream, I was
Yeah,
like,
I
I
like
like
her
that she's
too.
unconventional. I like she does her own thing. You
Hmm.
know, she doesn't really. Because the most conventional which we have is Jeanne. Because reading the character details, Bayonetta herself is kind of an unconventional witch for 400-year-old Vigrid standards.
Hmm.
But if the Umbrella saw Viola, she'd have a heart attack. Seriously, she'd pass out. But
Oh, you're
you know,
killing me.
it's true. You know, she'd be like, that child of impure blood, even worse.
Even more impure than
Yes,
before.
like the girl has fur, you know.
The girl has
But
fur. I'm done.
but you know, this is where we at now. I like it because it shows like how things have changed in real life as well. Like it's so different from what it was in 200 years ago. It's cultures change, times change, and you adapt based on the time.
Yeah.
That's why I like it shows. I think that's how I look at it. It's just like the generations and how things change.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I like Viola. I like her as a side character. And maybe I'd be okay with her being a main character in some spin-off games or maybe even some future games, but as long as she's not the only one and as long as Cereza's okay, like that's what I care about. And that's a big important thing in the series for me. You mentioned, though, that Bayonetta was never caught slipping. And that is a good point because that brings us to our next plot hole. Bayonetta been slipping in this game somehow. Like, the variants kept getting killed by some bull that obviously would have never gotten her in the first place. But somehow they tried to pretend like she was caught slipping. Even though, like, in this very same game, they showed her just, like, doing some superhuman stuff that, like, how does she know that that's right there? It's because she's superhuman. But then she'll get killed by a threat that, like, telegraphs itself. Like a big hand coming out of lava behind her and things like that. Like what happened to the Chinese variant of Bayonetta or whatever happened to Popstar Bayonetta.
I remembered it was the those weird things that come out the sand.
Yep.
Two of them like popped up, and then like the last one popped up underneath her and like grabbed her, like had her in between its jaws.
Mm-hmm. It just didn't
Yeah,
make
that
any
one.
sense though.
That one in particular, I feel like she was probably exhausted and was a little, had her guard down just a little bit.
Okay.
She dropped the big iridescence, but those kind of popped up, and she's like, "Oh no."
Okay, Tokyo
But,
Bayonetta, we can get away with that. You're right. That's a little
yeah.
fair. Okay, but what about the Chinese Bayonetta?
Oh no, I don't have an excuse for that one, sir. I think she was just her mind was in parties, not party, so purgatorio. I don't have an I don't have a word for that.
Yeah. And there was even time for other Cereza to be like, look out, and she still didn't move. She didn't just jump straight up. She didn't do anything. She didn't move at all. She just got grabbed by this giant hand that she must have heard it come out of the lava. That was a big noisy movement. And it took it like 5 seconds before it touched her. Like, I don't know. To me, that made zero sense. So you don't have a defense for the Chinese Bayonetta dying.
Let's see. What else we had? It was like 4 different variants, correct?
Yeah, but the others, like, they made sense. Like, one of us, we had to kill ourselves. And then, being French Bayonetta. And then the other, like, saved us and killed herself to save us, which was Egypt Bayonetta. Yeah. Like, that made
noble. Yeah, that one was noble. I was like, no.
Yeah.
But, I don't really like that. But this is something kind of interesting, right? How to put it? This is something people seen before even the game came out, or we seen anything. It was like the first Bayonetta trailer, she was overpowering angels. Second Bayonetta, she was kind of meeting her match in a sense. Then this one, we've seen her got ripped to pieces.
Yeah.
So, Presence Singularity in the beginning, that's definitely, he's kind of strong. So it's like, okay, But when it comes to these other little minions, it's kind of like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean, to be fair, they are directly controlled by Singularity. especially those big ones, like the one that grabbed Chinese Bayonetta. But it still doesn't make sense how that worked. So I think that we've deduced, and this is going to kind of segue into the next plot hole, but I think we've deduced that Singularity does have a way to bypass Witch Time. It's how he got the Bayonetta both in the Records of Time and Cereza at the very end in the final chapter. It's how he like starts to shatter her witch heart in both of those.
Yep.
And in both cases she didn't realize that he could do that. So both times caught her off guard and did a life-threatening blow. Now, it didn't seem like he did that though against Chinese Bayonetta. And even worse, it didn't seem like he did that against Jeanne, which brings me to the next plot hole. Not only did Jeanne get caught off guard in a way that was unrealistic, but even worse, she got stabbed in the same way that Bayonetta got stabbed by Luca when he was in beast form. But for some reason, Bayonetta healed after Luca took his whatever out of her, but for some reason Jeanne couldn't?
Took whatever out of her. I'm sorry, I'm disgusting. But that, I thought about that and I said, since when? I literally said that, since when? And then I instantly thought that, this is a little bit off topic, but that death battle with Dante, redo it.
Oh yeah.
Redo it.
Yeah, because he stabbed her in that and she healed. Yeah,
she just I was like, whoa. I'm not sure if this Cerecita here learned something that the others didn't. There's a chance because she was able to, keep the demon slave style that Rodin said he thought was lost forever. She brought it back. So there could have been some kind of ancient magic learning spell, something that maybe only she knew. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because she also knows the Deadly Sin ritual, which is only she knows the Deadly Sin ritual, was that version of Cereza. So,
yeah.
like, knowing that, maybe you're right. Maybe it has something to do with that. Because she's literally ripping her heart out when she does the Deadly Sin.
Yeah.
And
that's what okay.
Yeah, and when you know that none of the other Bayonettas knew how to do the Deadly Sin ritual, then I guess it makes sense that maybe they also don't know how to heal from a life-threatening injury, like pulling your heart out.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Yo, I thought that was like an ultimate weapon type thing we only see once, but it's like at the end of each major like multiverse we did that. I said she is going to have serious heart issues for the rest of her life. Oh my god.
Yes. It wasn't for long. Long after that. Yeah. You're right, she did have heart issues. Her witch heart broke later.
I was like, yeah, ma'am, please sit down, drink a water, catch yourself. Yeah, but I think that got to be some kind of because this is Cerecita. Okay, it should be canonically the strongest version of Bayonetta, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that she definitely has some type of maybe she got some kind of enchantment, something she probably found somewhere. But it's kind of funny if that's the most powerful version. She knows these things. She didn't know Thule existed.
Yeah, that's a little weird, right? Especially since we're seeing in the storybook that she knew about the Avalon Forest where the fairies are from. And I'm assuming that's probably where she learns the Deadly Sin ritual or something. But yeah, I'm curious to know about why that all is too.
I did see you uploaded that video. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna look into it, but I did not realize. I didn't read the title. So you mentioned the first, he's talking about that.
Yep. Yeah, so the storybook takes place in the Avalon Forest, and that's where Lucan, the Fairy King, is from. And so it's interesting to find out that Cereza has ties to that place. And it's supposedly a utopia that can only be reached after death. So it also makes me wonder if the storybook takes place after Bayonetta 3, because we saw Luca warping, or not, we saw Luca's fairy magic come out while they're going to hell, and it's the same color and same particle effects as when he uses the portal, or when he makes a portal to take them to the definition verse that Singularity was in, and supposedly killed himself for, but I don't know if that's true. Because either he got brought back or he actually didn't die, one of the two. And then when they're going down the portal to hell, he lights up that same color, and I'm wondering if he's warping her to the Avalon Forest, because he can he can do that. He with the Lucan powers, he can travel the multiverse, and he can also travel between the different realms. So I'm wondering if he's just taking her to whatever realm the Avalon Forest is in, and now we're playing through that in the storybook. Because when the storybook starts, you're in this like darker, more witch-like area, and then you go into the Avalon Forest, and it's like this like sad, scary music playing until you enter the forest. So I'm wondering if it really is like just taking place after Bayonetta 3. But I don't know. You haven't seen the videos, but if you have any thoughts about that from what I just told you, feel free to let me know now.
That is interesting. I'm like, see, there you go. That's the stuff I was missing. That's the pieces I'm still trying to find, so everything makes sense. So that's cool, because I did believe when Viola did meet the Lucan, I guess that would be her father. Yeah,
maybe. I thought about that too. Yeah, I thought about that too. So maybe that might be the case.
Yeah, because that's the pieces I'm still trying to put together. Like this specific King Lucan is her actual. I mean, all of them genetically her dad, but this one specifically should be her dad. And then Whittingham Bayonetta, I'm not sure how she found him and all of that stuff, but that would be her actual mother. It's like, Now, how that even happened, that's a whole conversation. We might find out in the next thing. Who knows? I was actually quite intrigued to see like maybe a picture or something, of like maybe Viola when she was like a kid. I'm just curious because obviously I don't think she naturally like looks like all of that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I was just curious, like,
I think she naturally has the black hair like Bayonetta, because her eyebrows I think are also black, and usually eyebrows people don't change those unless they're me.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. That's something I never thought about. I don't think I ever looked at her eyebrows.
Yeah, those are black. So like that's the one genetic she got from Bayonetta was black hair.
I think the same color eyes, but then again, Lucan might have the same color eyes as well.
Yeah. Okay. So the last plot hole, and this one is more of a lore thing that they kind of just like overlooked, maybe, or maybe there's an explanation for this, but. The concoction ingredients that you get in the Bayonetta games, there was always a lore behind them that they were placed in Purgatorio by other witches for other witches to use. They were placed and stored there, both for safekeeping and for other witches to use. So why are there concoction ingredients, the same concoction ingredients out in the overworld, in the realm of chaos, not in Purgatorio? That's a little weird to me. Do you have any sort of thoughts on why that might be?
In Thule, it's Thule. But anywhere else but Thule, I don't know.
Thule kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, this is like, we've been in Purgatory this whole game. So that's cool. Like, people can see us. But I was like, now that's something I didn't even read or like even think about. I was like, wow. Thule is Thule. So if you find your ingredients in Thule, mostly, if anything, okay, makes sense. But like in the overworld, then again, we're not sure. Well, at least in the Egyptian like timeline, you don't even know like how far back in history it could possibly be, because
there's supposedly all the timelines were in sync with each other. They just took different courses to get to where they are now. So the Egypt timeline is still modern day. It's just different. Just history went differently to get to that point. Singularity says that when you go to the Chinese realm, when you go to China, he mentions that this timeline is in sync with yours. History just took a completely different course, and I think that's insinuating that all the different universes you go to are all in sync timeline-wise.
Okay. Yeah. So it's pretty much do, and we're just going to different ones. Okay, makes sense. All right. The Purgatorio. I don't have anything. I don't have anything for that one either. It's like,
So something you said actually made me think of a possible explanation, and this is me just defending the writers when they might not deserve it. I want to say it's because, like you said, Thule makes perfect sense to place those, right? Even in the realm of chaos, not in Purgatorio. Kind of. I mean, it's still like you would think that you would want to just go into Purgatorio to grab those, because they'd be safer kept there. But I guess Thule's already so secluded, maybe they didn't care too much. So maybe because Thule takes you to those portals to those other realms, and we're staying kind of close to where we get out of those portals, maybe they also planted some like near the portal ways to those other universes. Maybe they just like put some there too, just in case. Not, but again, not in Purgatorio, which is still kind of weird. I don't know. I don't have a complete, fair, and proper defense of this. I'm trying to make sense of it when I probably shouldn't, and the developers or the writers probably don't deserve it.
Yeah, I don't have even a rebuttal or even an idea for that one. I think it's just something they might have forgotten or just didn't care about. So, well,
Probably didn't care about it. Probably were like, people probably didn't read it anyway, so
yeah.
we can just kind of break that lore. Yeah. But that, my friends, is what we call a plot hole. So that is why we were here to talk about these, and why I got the pleasure of having Pink Giratina on this video together with me. So if you guys don't know already, Pink Giratina is both on YouTube and Twitch. So go ahead and follow her and subscribe to her on Twitch and on YouTube.
Friends, can't wait to see you guys again. You are in Umbra for life. Umbra Warlock here. Come through.
Umbra Warlock, please. I actually really wanted to see that in Bayonetta 3, but we never got to see it. Like a male Umbra witch or anything like that, or a male warlock.
It's kind of a question. It's like, how do you reproduce? I thought about it. I was like, I think I read somewhere. Seriously, I think they do have like opposite genders, but they don't really do the magic stuff. I think it might be exclusively for women, probably.
Okay.
If I read it correctly.
I feel like I vaguely remember something like that. It really is too bad that they just like segregate it between males as lumen sages and females as witches. It's a little sexist, but hey, what can we say?
Yes, what can we do?
It was great having you on, and I hope to have you on again soon for another Bayonetta 3 discussion. This was really fun.
I would love to.
Also,
it's nice to have someone to speak with this stuff.
Agreed. And you're hilarious. You had me rolling. I was cracking up here. So thank you for that, and I hope the audience also thanks you for it. And yeah, until the next video, guys, feel free to catch up with any of our previous videos.